organization function better and create value. If you're listening to this, I suspect you're after something similar. With that definition in mind, this book will cover mainstay analytics techniques such as optimization, forecasting, and simulation, as well as more hot topics such as artificial intelligence, network graphs, clustering, and outlier detection. Some of these techniques are as old as World War II. Others were introduced in the last 5 years. And you'll see that age has no bearing on difficulty or usefulness. All these techniques, whether or not they're currently the rage, are equally useful in the right business context. And that's why you need to understand how they work, how to choose the right technique for the right problem, and how to prototype with them. There are a lot of folks out there who understand one or two of these techniques, but the rest aren't on their radar. If all I had in my toolbox was a hammer, I'd probably try to solve every problem by smacking it real hard, not unlike my 2-year-old. Better to have a few other tools at your disposal. But wait, what about big data? You've heard the term big data, even more than data science, most likely. Is this a book on big data? That depends on how you define big data. If you define big data as computing simple summary statistics on unstructured garbage stored in massive, horizontally scalable, no SQL databases, then no, this is not a book on big data. If you define big data as turning transactional business data into decisions and insight using cutting-edge analytics, regardless of where that data is stored, then yes, this is a book about big data. This is not a book that will be covering database technologies like MongoDB and HBase. This is not a book that will be covering data science coding packages like Mahout, NumPy, various R libraries, and so on. There are other books out there for that stuff. But that's a good thing. This book ignores the tools, the storage, and the code. Instead, it focuses as much as possible on the techniques. There are many folks out there who think that data storage and retrieval, with a little bit of cleanup and aggregation mixed in, constitutes all there is to know about big data. They're wrong. This book will take you beyond the spiel you've been hearing from the big data software sales reps and bloggers to show you what's really possible with your data. And the cool thing is that for many of these techniques, your data set can be any size, small or large. You don't have to have a petabyte of data and the expenses that come along with it in order to predict the interests of your customer base. If you have a massive data set, that's great. But there are some businesses that don't have it, need it, and will likely never generate it, like my local butcher. But that doesn't mean his email marketing couldn't benefit from a little bacon versus sausage cluster detection. If data science books were workouts, this book would be all calisthenics. No machine weights, no ergs. Once you understand how to implement the techniques with even the most bare bones of tools, you'll find yourself free to implement them in a variety of technologies, prototype them with ease, buy the correct data science products from consultants, delegate the correct approach to your developers, and so on. Who am I? Let me pause for a moment to tell you my story. It'll go a long way to explaining why I teach data science the way I do. Many moons ago, I was a management consultant. I worked on analytics problems for organizations such as the FBI, DoD, the Coca-Cola Company, Intercontinental Hotels Group, and Royal Caribbean International. And through all these experiences, I walked away having learned one thing. More people than just the scientists need to understand data science. I worked with managers who bought simulations when they needed an optimization model. I worked with analysts who only understood Gantt charts, so everything needed to be solved with Gantt charts. As a consultant, it wasn't hard to win over a customer with any old white paper and a slick PowerPoint deck, because they couldn't tell AI from BI or BI from BS. The point of this book is to broaden the audience of who understands and can implement data science techniques. I'm not trying to turn